Lady Eleanor Whitmore had always been curious, but nothing prepared her for the discovery she made that stormy evening. The ancient Ravenwood estate was known for its locked doors and buried secrets. Her father's business with the Duke had brought them to the crumbling halls of the once great house, where Eleanor found herself wandering aimlessly. Drawn by a faint creaking sound in the library, she stumbled upon a loose panel behind a grand oak shelf. Behind it, she discovered an old, leather-bound diary, its pages yellowed and brittle. The name scrawled inside sent a chill down her spine: Alexander Ashcroft, Duke of Ravenwood. The same elusive man rumored to have driven his fiancée to despair and ruin. The pages overflowed with confessions of passion, vengeance, and a haunting loneliness that tugged at Eleanor's heart. Against every grain of good sense, she read on, absorbing the Duke's darkest secrets and deepest regrets. The words painted a man far different from the cold figure society whispered about. As the thunder roared outside, Eleanor's heart raced, not with fear, but with an unfamiliar yearning. Little did she know, the diary was not meant for innocent eyes, and its discovery would awaken a storm far more dangerous than the one outside. The following day, Eleanor could not resist seeking out the Duke himself. She found him brooding in the vast rose garden, alone, his sharp gaze piercing through her like glass. The diary weighed heavily in her satchel, a forbidden key to his soul. When their eyes met, she froze, unable to disguise the curiosity burning within her. "You wander where you do not belong, Lady Whitmore," he said in a voice as smooth and dangerous as velvet. "What is it you truly seek?" Eleanor swallowed hard. She had no answer that would not reveal her treachery. But instead of fear, a reckless desire sparked within her. She dared to challenge his gaze, aware that she was dancing on the edge of propriety and perhaps something far more perilous. "I seek the truth, Your Grace," she answered boldly. His lips curled in the faintest smile, but it held no warmth. The Duke leaned closer, his scent intoxicating, his words a whispered threat. "Truth is a dangerous thing, my lady. Are you prepared to pay the price for it?" Her heart pounded as she realized the game had begun, and she was no longer just an observer in the shadows. The Duke's words haunted Eleanor well into the night. She could not resist the temptation to return to the diary's pages, even as guilt gnawed at her conscience. She learned of his bitter feud with the crown, of betrayals that stripped him of trust, and the lonely nights he spent crafting letters never sent. The Duke's inner world was raw, vulnerable, and far removed from the predator society feared. Days later, an unexpected invitation arrived for Eleanor. A formal dinner at Ravenwood Manor, addressed in the Duke's precise handwriting. Her parents, though cautious, accepted, unaware of the dangerous undercurrent between their daughter and the Duke. As Eleanor entered the dining hall, she felt like prey stepping into the lion's den. The room brimmed with nobles and schemers, yet all she could see was the Duke at the head of the table, his gaze following her every move. When their hands brushed as she accepted a glass of wine, sparks ignited that neither dared to name aloud. Throughout the evening, their conversations teetered between sharp wit and veiled threats, with the Duke testing the limits of her courage. Eleanor realized then that she was no longer a reader of his secrets. She was a player in his web of games, and the stakes were no longer confined to mere gossip. She was risking her family's honor and her heart. That night, Eleanor wandered into the moonlit garden, suffocated by the weight of her choices. She pressed the diary to her chest, as if its words could shield her from the path she was treading. But the Duke found her there, as if drawn by some invisible tether between them. "You've read enough, I presume?" His voice broke the silence, more tender than before. "Enough to know you're not the monster they say you are," she whispered. He stepped closer, the space between them melting away. His hand gently brushed a stray curl from her cheek, his touch both possessive and reverent. The air thickened, heavy with unsaid desires. "Careful, Lady Eleanor," he murmured, his lips ghosting over hers. "This game is not for the faint of heart." But it was Eleanor who closed the distance, claiming the kiss she had imagined since that first stolen glance. Their lips met, tentative at first, before unraveling into a desperate, forbidden hunger. When they finally parted, breathless, the Duke's gaze darkened. "Now you cannot turn back." Eleanor knew he was right. She had crossed the threshold into a world where rules shattered like glass, and passion had its own dangerous language. And yet, she did not wish to turn back. The days that followed were a blur of longing and deceit. Eleanor and the Duke met under the cover of darkness, exchanging stolen touches and whispered confessions. By day, they played their roles flawlessly, she, the dutiful daughter, he, the untouchable Duke. Yet beneath the surface, their bond deepened into something neither could name without fear. But rumors are predators in high society, always hunting. Whispers of Eleanor's presence at Ravenwood grew louder. Her family began to question her late-night wanderings, her distracted smiles. The Duke, ever the strategist, proposed a dangerous game of deception. They would orchestrate a scandal so carefully plotted that no one would suspect the truth until it was too late. He suggested that she feign courtship with Lord Pembroke, a man as tedious as he was ambitious. It would divert attention from their true affair and buy them precious time. Eleanor agreed, her heart torn. To deceive her own family, to flirt with a man she detested, all for stolen moments with Alexander. Was she becoming as ruthless as the Duke himself? Yet when he kissed her fingertips under the shadows of the grand ballroom, her doubts crumbled. If we must play by society's rules, he whispered, then we shall write them ourselves. As the charade unfolded, Eleanor found herself drowning in lies. Lord Pembroke grew smug under her feigned attentions, while her mother beamed at the prospect of an advantageous match. Eleanor smiled through clenched teeth, her heart breaking a little more with each deception. But it was not only her family she endangered. Enemies of the Duke had begun to circle, sensing weakness in his newfound vulnerability. Eleanor overheard whispers of a plot to expose the Duke's past sins, a plot that could destroy them both. Desperate, she confronted Alexander. They will ruin you. They will ruin us. He chuckled bitterly. I have been ruined before, Eleanor. But you still have everything to lose. She saw it then, the fractured boy behind the mask of the Duke. For once, she did not see the predator but the man fighting ghosts. She reached for him, her touch a silent vow. Then we face them together, she said. But the Duke's gaze turned distant. Be careful what you offer, my love. Some shadows stain even the purest hands. Eleanor refused to cower. She would burn the world for him, even if it meant losing herself in the process. The night of the grand masquerade arrived, a perfect stage for the deception to unravel. Eleanor wore a crimson gown, the color of rebellion and danger, while Alexander watched her from the shadows, his expression unreadable behind his black mask. Lord Pembroke, drunk on his own pride, announced their engagement publicly, forcing Eleanor to play along with a smile that cut like a blade. The Duke remained silent, a mere spectator as society applauded the farce. But when the clock struck midnight, everything crumbled. A masked stranger unveiled documents detailing the Duke's darkest secrets, his betrayals, and his forbidden relationship with Lady Eleanor. Gasps filled the room. Eleanor's father staggered back, humiliation scrawled across his face. In the chaos, the Duke seized her hand. There's no turning back now, he whispered. They fled into the night, hunted by the very society they had once deceived. In the safety of Ravenwood's hidden chambers, Eleanor faced the truth. Her world was gone. Her name, her family, her future, all shattered. But when Alexander kissed her amidst the ruins, she knew she had chosen the only thing that mattered. Love, even if it destroyed them both. Weeks passed in the shadows of exile. The Duke's lands were seized, his name dragged through mud. Yet, in the isolation of a small coastal village, far from judgment, they built a fragile new life. They lived simply, walking along the cliffs, sharing stories by firelight, laughing in ways they never dared before. The world had taken everything, but in return, it had given them each other. One evening, as the sun bled into the sea, Alexander placed a modest silver band on Eleanor's finger. No dukedoms, no crowns, just us, Eleanor. Tears glistened in her eyes. It's all I ever wanted. And though the world would remember them as scandal and shame, in the quiet corners of their small cottage, they wrote their own story, one of love that defied the rules, the whispers, and the ruins left behind. For in the end, what is nobility without love? What is honor without passion? They had lost everything, and yet gained more than they ever dreamed.